folks, how y'all doing? How's it going? Hope everyone's good. All is good here. All right, we're gonna draw. Let's start with like a 7-minute pose. Shall we do that? Go crazy? Why not? Yeah, we'll start with a 7 and we'll see how it goes. Let me know if the cameras needs adjusting, all of that stuff. You know the deal. It will let me change camera, that would help. Okay, 7 minutes. I want to do some faster poses. I'm going to do a couple of longer poses today, but I generally want to try and do some faster poses. You know, 7, 10s, 15s, that kind of thing. Maybe even a couple of 3s. All right, timer, 7 minutes. Nice easy pose to get the proceedings started. Upper lower torso, as is per usual. I'm focusing on the torso. The legs will get a little bit of a mention, but generally speaking, I like to draw a little bit bigger, so it does mean kind of knocking off the figure around the knee. Aces approximately, inguinal ligament approximately. Arch of the rib cage going to be sitting in roughly in here. Now that's iliac crest coming to here. That's a bit of a stretch, but I think we get away with it. Manubrium. Actually, manubrium. Yeah, welcome Andrew. Thank you for that. Yes, indeed. New members joining all the time, which is a great thing. Okay, thumb, that hand roughly in there. I'm kind of exaggerating, as I said, a little bit the amount of tension we have on this side and extension we have on this side. Just really just have a bit of fun with it. Sternocleidomastoid mastoid. Head tilting back that way. Just kind of see that type of thing going on. Pectoral. Breast sitting at about there. Navel's about there. Very lean model. Something like that. And then this other leg is kind of pushing out this way, slightly coming towards us. Something like that. 4 minutes. My proportions are kind of a little bit wacky. I'll fix it. It feels like an age since we've done quicker poses. Feel like I need to get back in the rhythm of it. Something like this. Actually, her hair is coming across her form. Hard to see, but she's got a headband going on just up there. Where are we at? 6:44. Kind of think I'm there for the length of the pose. All right, let's call it for this one. 7. Okay, I think the model's rib cage is a bit higher than I'm used to compared to the pelvis, either the pose or her natural anatomy. She's got quite a long torso, it's got to be said, Lulu. It costs a beer, exactly. Thanks, Lulu. Yeah, if you go to, well, if you're looking on a PC, if you're watching on a PC, you should see a join button. It's different to subscribing, because if you join, then in the community chat you get a link to all the reference that we work with. What kind of sharpener do you use with charcoal pencils, asks Laurie. Laurie, I use a scalpel, and I basically very carefully whittle away till I've got about, I don't know, maybe just ½ an inch exposed. And then I take an old nail file and I sand it and rotate the pencil as I go. So that's what's happening there. I don't find sharpness, you know, mechanical sharpness to really work for charcoal pencils. Charcoal, just generally speaking, just tends to be too delicate for it. Next pose. All right, let's do a 10, huh? We all good for that? All right, let's do it. lovely, really lovely kind of twist to her upper and lower torso here. Hopefully we can capture that, just that overall kind of shape, something like that, right? Spine sitting in here, coming down, it's generally our center line there. Sacrum sitting about here. Iliac crest, we can't really see it, but we know it to be there, right? We know it's about there and there. So we'll just kind of rough that in. Her rib cage is probably sitting about here. So maybe a bit lower, maybe about there. Once again, she's got this long stretch on her, which is really kind of stretching out the oblique and then coming down the form that way. I might need to push my proportions a little bit here. Let's see. Scapula sitting roughly in here. This arm coming down this way. Then forearm going up and away from us. Tina, if you go to the community page of the channel, first post down, you should see a link to this month's reference. Okay. This leg coming up this way, obviously going away from us. This hand sitting on top here. Something like that. So actually I think I need to pull down just a little bit. I think my shoulder's probably about here, which is fine, give or take. Scapula on this side, sitting in here. Then we've got the rib cage really kind of jutting out, and then meets up with the oblique sitting in here. Something like that. Okay, I'm going to just get into it because time is of the essence. Okay. Something like that. I feel like my measurements are a bit funky. Are they? Sacrum's a bit higher. sequence about there. Maybe that'll help. Oh, and we've got this other leg too, which is lower than this one. So that's sitting about here, right? Going away from this. All right. Something like that. Yeah, give or take. Okay. Something like that. Yeah, should do it. We're at 8, 2 more minutes. Sorry, I'm not very chatty. Just trying to focus. You know how it is. One minute to go. Okay. Excuse me. All right. I think I'm going to call it. Oh, we should just pop in interior leg line. Sitting somewhere in there. Okay. Just paying attention to how that straight line of the oblique looked weird when I drew it 1-to-1. Those couple of wiggles you threw in make it look much better on the sketch. You know, Lulu, that comes down to that kind of exaggerating things that we know are there. If something's feeling a little, let's say, uninteresting, just to be able to push 5%, right? Man knows how to wiggle. Brennan, welcome. All right. Cool. Let's do the next pose. Oh. Go on, away. There we go. Okay. All right, nice standing pose. Once again, I think what really interests me here is the upper torso. This is a side pose for those who can't see the reference. But lovely relationship between the rib cage and the pelvis. So I think that's really, at least for me, that's what this story about on this drawing is about. If that makes sense. Doing good, thanks, Lucas. Richard, how do you get the thick, thin line? Pressure or turning the pencil? Not evident on screen. It's really pressure, I would say, as much. And probably, you know, to say it's just pressure is probably an oversimplification. To be honest with you, I don't really think about it. It's not something conscious. It's probably a mix between pressure and turning the pencil, because you see, one thing that happens with the pencil, and I'm not going to be able to zoom in unfortunately, is as you draw, you get like this flat edge to the side of the charcoal. So you almost kind of manipulate that, if you know what I mean. Like you might, a little bit pressure, a little bit of angle, and a little bit of turning the pencil onto that, the edge of that flat plane. It's kind of a mix. It's hard to explain, I'm afraid. Practice. I think that's really kind of what it comes down to. I'd say let's do another 10, huh? Let's do it. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I think my playlist has gone kaput. Let me refresh that. Let's see. Let's take a chance here. This could go many ways. Let's see. Thanks, I don't have a flat edge yet. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm using a new pencil for this one, for this pose. I don't really have a flat edge either, but it's not really just about flat edge. You could get that with a pencil that doesn't have the flat edge. I was just using that as kind of an example of some of the things that are in play. Iliac crest is going to be sitting about here. We can see that rib cage sitting right about here. What I love about these types of side poses, something I always enjoy doing, is this section in here where the rib cage kind of ends and we go into this straight run of the abdominal muscle, and then just below the navel, which is sitting about here, you get that turn of form going back down towards the pubic bone. You get this really kind of nice relationship between, you know, rib cage, stomach. and then coming down this way. It's a bit of fun. Okay, so iliac crest. We can kind of see the ACES quite clearly, can't we? Right in this region here, where it turns, and then we get the start of the leg kind of coming down this way, coming off obviously off the buttock here, and into the hamstring that's going to be sitting there. That will do us for now. The leg behind, the left leg, is kind of sitting in here, going down this way. And then this knee is going down like so. You can really see nicely on this silhouette of the back of the form, you can see that scapula. And it's sitting in there, coming up this way. Head of the humerus is probably about here. Then this arm is going this way, and then forearm coming up, and her hand doing that. Deltoid sitting up there. See, this arm is sitting higher, and the thing that gives me the clue about that is how much of the breast I can actually see, and I can see more on the reference, so it tells me I need to pull my elbow up. So kind of a handy little measurement tool there. I think even probably more, actually. I think I'll revise that when I tie down. Then the other hand is sitting about here. I think I'm going to leave it off. I think it's going to just confuse matters. Yeah, definitely there's going to be a lot of pushing and pulling with the proportions when I get to the tie down stage of this. But that's okay. Just get the overall pose for right now. Minutes, and we're 5 minutes in, so I really need to get cracking. All right, where do I feel most confident about starting is the question, because I do want to push and pull a little bit with proportion. I'm going to start back here. I think it'll just be the easiest place to, you know, make some adjustments if I need to. Okay, so we've got the sacrum sitting in about here. Something like that. Actually, I think I need to pull up ever so slightly where the asus or the iliac crest comes around. And let's pull this leg up just a tiny bit. Something like that. Somewhere in there. So it's all just kind of pushing and pulling, right? That's the general idea. Bicep sitting in there. Wrist is actually about there. I need to make that just a tiny bit shorter. And then this hand is actually about here. It's all good. Constantinos asks, does the side of the leg connecting to the hip look like a wrench? Possibly, depending on the angle. Are you talking about this little area here? If that's what you're referring to, I guess you could say there's a wrench-like quality to it. Yeah. Okay, let's come up here. Just coming up to the rib cage, which is sitting about here, and then to the breast, which is sitting on the form in here. Ah, she's too thick. I'm just gonna leave it because we've got like 3 seconds left. That's unfortunate. Yeah, kind of, you know, I talked before about spidey sense and when is a drawing going wrong. I feel like I knew quite early on that there was something going on with this drawing. Yeah, I'm just gonna abandon ship. I don't like it. One for the fire. It's certainly not worth investing more time on. Pity. Sorry to the model for that one. That was nothing short of disrespectful. Fez says, Richard, your videos have re-inspired me to get back into figure drawing. How nice. Do you plan to do any videos on shading? It's funny you should ask. I was literally recording something this afternoon. And I've done a lot actually of the most recent streams where we've done much longer poses, like 25 minutes and so. There's usually a shading element in those poses. I'll probably do one right now. Yeah, let's spend a bit longer on this next pose because it's got so much going on, and I just think it's a really interesting pose, and hopefully we can do it justice. Very interesting body composition, says Lulu. Almost no fat pads near the waistline, yet she's not too lean on close inspection. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I know what you mean. yeah, interesting. Thank you, Marie. The sketch in the background. What, that one? I'll post that one on Instagram tomorrow. There's actually some nice tonal work in that drawing. I'm quite pleased with it. In fact, let's have a little show and tell. Just give me a second here, guys. Because I think it could be a learning moment. Let's have a look. I'm assuming this is the one that you're talking about. Unless you're talking about a completely different drawing, although I think it's the only one that was in the background. So this is not too far removed from what we usually do, right? But notice that there's, generally speaking, even in the lit side of the form, there's quite a bit more tone, right? Kind of representing ideas. But this is kind of just taking what we normally do one step further. And in fact, while we're doing show and tell, I'll show you something else. So people were asking about shading. So we did a drawing in the last stream, which was this one. Remember this? And I just spent like 15 minutes on it today. Sorry, let me put my microphone back. I can only imagine what this sounds like on stream. Apologies. So I just spent about 15 minutes on this one today, just taking it a little bit further. My issue with it before was it had a very dark, heavy exterior line. The tonal work in the middle was a little bit on the soft side, and it was partly due to how much time we had. So once again, I looked at kind of like the darkness of this line, and I just said to myself, okay, my darkest darks, i.e. here, 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 right? They need to be in that range of black, basically, right? Or close to it, much darker. So I went through and I've recorded all this, and I'm actually going to post it. I think it'd be a good thing just for you guys to see, like, and I'll just do it kind of time lapse or something sped up. But I just started to go through and I just started to very slowly work the core shadows darker. I actually started with this area right here, just pulling out, and just, as I said, just started hitting the core shadows throughout the form, just very delicately and gently kind of nudging, you know, very kind of slowly, cautiously, let's say, because I didn't want to overwork it, because there is always that fear, right? Even down to things like just putting the drop shadow, right? Suddenly now the form feels like it's sitting on a surface rather than just floating in air, which I am guilty of because, once again, usually time dictates. And then just going in and just hitting a couple of lines just to re-establish them. Like this one, for example, I just hit again. This one I hit again. That may have even been it. I don't remember. I think that might have been it. But it just helps take the drawing kind of to the next level, right? Could you go further than this? Absolutely. You know, I did consider, just briefly, and very quickly abandoned the idea of toning up the background. But that tends to be a rather time-consuming process, which, as you guys know, I'm quite impatient. So this felt to me like a good compromise. Takes it to the next level. Also, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I just hit areas very gently here and there with the kneaded eraser, just to try and help pull out highlights. And once again, even with those, this area I'm pulling out in particular because hopefully it's most evident. But even when I'm going in with the kneaded eraser, I'm going in the direction the form is moving, right? It just helps maintain the perspective we've talked about, or the foreshortening, the illusion of depth. And so just generally speaking, with every part of the process, I'm trying to be consistent in my kind of mythology, if that makes sense. Is that the right word? Yeah, I'll put the video. What I'd probably do is I'll probably just show the original drawing as well, the process of the original drawing as well. What was interesting about this one also was that, if you recall, there were two light sources on the reference. And so I went with a conceptual light model, which was basically deciding this is kind of where the direction that my light was hitting the form. So even with that, I made a couple of small revisions. Things like I had a little pocket of light here, for example. That would never exist with the light coming from this direction. So it gave me a chance to fix, let's say. But you can even see here, you see this like little detail of light in here. That kind of thing is only really possible when you get in with a kneaded eraser and just give it a little flick. Same thing here and here, just kind of pulling out detail ever so slightly, right? Just to help create the illusion of light hitting the surface. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. A bit of fun. This music is a little bit too much fun, so I'm going to change it. But what do we go with? That's the question. No idea. Random playlist. Okay. Let me reset the clock. Eraser feels super powerful when you do that. Volvo, you could not be more correct. You've been to a lot of streams now, Volvo. You can count on one hand in the last 100 streams how many times I've used the eraser to actually erase a mistake, right? Just don't do it. But as a tool for pulling out highlights, there is almost nothing better than to use the eraser, because it'll create effects that you simply will not be able to create from pencil and pushing tone around alone, right? Is that a process that you would encourage going back and playing with previous work? Oh, sure, Noah, why not? If you've got a drawing that you like, that you feel you could push further, just go for it. Just take a photo of it first, because in my experience, you will also wreck perfectly serviceable drawings in your pushing. That happens. But that's part of the process, and I don't get too worried about it. I do like to try and get a photo of them in stages, which I didn't do with the one I just showed you. Anyway. Okay. Let's do this. So I think this is going to be like a 20, right? Could go that long. Let's do it. Sorry, hold on. Okay. Okay, let's find her shoulder lines. Line. Once again, kind of like a pose that we just did. She's got this lovely kind of rhythmical thing going on. She really knows how to like give her ribcage personality, if that makes sense. Center line. Yeah, rib cage is sitting in here. Aces is going to be about here. And here. Inguinal ligament. Now, I think I need to make this probably a bit bigger. Probably to about there. Anyway, I can come back to that. Manubrium. Aditya says, so how to apply to S? You might want to finish that sentence, Aditya. Lulu says, speaking of taking photos at different points of the process, it would be cool to see you overdraw a piece just for science, like overcook it until it's burned to a crisp. Yeah. The problem is, you tend to not want to wreck the drawings that are working, taking them too far. So yeah, maybe at some point we'll do that as a little experiment. Okay, head of the humerus is about here. This arm coming down this way, just kind of at the turn of this form, right? And as we know, this is where the elbow is, sitting about here. And then it's coming towards us. This is going to be a little bit of foreshortening we're going to have to deal with in a little while. And then the hand is about here. Something like that. Okay, so clavicles here. Pectoral sitting about here. Let's find that V where the pectoral thins out in that region there. Now this arm is, this clavicle is kind of going back. It feels like, even though we can't see it because we're seeing this forearm sitting here, which is coming towards us. And then this hand sitting here. Something like that. So the pectoral coming across. Something like that. Yeah, it's about right. And rib cage, oblique, coming down. And then tensor fasciolates. Yeah. So I think this is about right. So rib cage, oblique. So let's look at these legs. So this knee is up here, and then tibia coming back down all this way to the ankle, sitting about here. This other side is ever so slightly lower, probably sitting about there. Yeah, this is coming towards us. Tibia going like that. Really want to try and keep that rhythm, you know? It's kind of the idea. And this leg. Sitting somewhere in there. And this foot. Sitting like that. And this one sitting behind. You can see the heel sitting in there. Then kind of going behind, and then we see the toe in that area. Okay, this will work. This will work. Hyperrealism art makes me sad on the inside. I'm not a huge fan myself, to be honest with you. Yeah, like it just doesn't really do anything for me. Yeah, but you know, to each their own. I guess it's, you know, it's good that someone's doing it. So this arm is too far out. Do I want to fix it? That's the question. Kind of like it where it is. It's really the wrist, isn't it? The wrist is actually about here. Yeah, we'll pull it in. Let's be good students. I'm still cheating a little bit with positioning, but I think I'd get away with it. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, there's a lot of A lot of interesting ideas in this one for sure. I think I've overcooked an idea, as we were talking about, but I'm going to leave it for now because there is compression on this side, but this to me feels a bit clumsy. It might resolve itself. Let's see. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, don't get me wrong. I can certainly live with it, but in the pursuit of doing things right. Kind of a weird one with that arm, how it connects to the yeah, okay. Something like that. Okay, so oblique. So there's more of a stretch on this side, right? So we don't want this nonsense. Something like that. Okay, deltoid starts about here. Let's get that first, and then we'll get the connecting point. Oh, I hate that arm. What have I done? Let's pull in this elbow. There we go. It's still not great, but it's a bit better. Let's see, maybe I'll have a chance to fix it. Okay. Yeah. It just says, so please explain. I'm guessing what you're saying is how to draw feet. My figure is drowning with mistake. Well, look, let's see when we get to the feet. Like, feet are complex. It's really, I'm really reluctant to just give an off-the-cuff demo about feet and hands, because they just require a particular set of skills. But one thing I'll say, just generally speaking, with fingers, like for example, on our model here, the left hand, all the fingers are splayed like this. Oh, never do that. Always group. Group like this, group like that. Just don't splay. It can get just super clumsy, although not that I've done much better here, but like you see even just there, like index, the middle two fingers, and then the pinky, and it just helps group, right? Helps bring solidity to the, hopefully bring solidity to the situation. That's the idea anyway. I feel like I'm drawing really slowly. I am, aren't I? I think we're going to be going over, guys. Sorry. Yeah, there's just a lot of real subtle things that you have to kind of be mindful of when drawing feet and hands and legs, or lower legs. There's a lot of little subtle ideas. Okay. Pulling that knee up a little bit, I think. Or am I? I am. this heel. Sitting in there. Mittens reign supreme. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good way to think about it. Mittens, but mittens plus. I'm just turning the face ever so slightly just to help continue that rhythmical idea. All right, let's just do a little bit of core shadow on this. Gonna ignore pretty much, well, not ignore, I'm gonna ignore the light source coming from her right for the most part. I just want something that's gonna help describe form real easily. So that seems like the easiest option. This music is driving me nuts. Shut it. Okay, let's keep going. All right. So we'll keep some of these tonal ideas. Kind of like the half tones sitting in there. But on this side we're going to cheat it as if we've just got the one light source. So we've got a cast shadow coming off here, in there. And you can kind of use that as your map for okay. So we're going to want, sorry, I'm jumping around here, just trying to gather my thoughts on what it is exactly that I do want. Okay. Okay, we can actually see her rib cage sitting in there, can't we? Just ever so slightly. And then this leg, I'm trying to put in shadow as I will this hand. So this is all going to be in shadow. Yeah. This will be hit with light. This will be in tone. Then we'll put this into tone. Okay. Okay. So this is a clear candidate for exactly what we were talking about earlier, where you could spend that extra 20 minutes pushing and pulling tone, you know, taking it to the next level. Maybe it would be a good candidate for that. I think it would. And I'll tell you, especially if I'm using conceptual light, when you do that, definitely turn off your reference and just let it be the conversation between you and the drawing, because nothing will throw you quicker than the reference if you're not using it if you're not using its light source. So just punching that line back up can really help. Gives me a much better idea of where my darkest darks are and what that should look like. Okay, that was a bit of fun. Not wildly happy with it, but it's okay. Thank you, Aditya. Okay. Turning off the reference is top advice. I sometimes do that when I do my own lighting, because I always thought it was because I was too lazy to. No, it's a really good idea. Because it's so easy to start second guessing your choices. Oh yeah, let me just talk. I know many of you have heard this particular 5-minute lecture before, but I think it bears repeating for people. I talk a lot about conceptual light, right? The idea that when we have a model with, say, multiple light sources, or let's say that you're in a room with a live model and there's a lot of fluorescent lighting, you know, it's a town hall, it's not really set up for figure drawing, and so you've got like 15 different light sources going on, and you look at the model and you just start to see ghosts everywhere, right? And so when that happens, I usually say to myself, as you've heard me say several times on the stream, I'm going to use conceptual lighting. The idea with that is, and it's something that Michelangelo did a lot, because, you know, a lot of the Renaissance guys, they were like either lit from candlelight or, you know, using daylight, the sun, which was moving. So they had to have a consistent kind of idea about a light source that they could rely upon repeatably. So this is the general idea, right? Let's say we have a cylinder, okay, simple cylinder. And I'm going to say to myself, okay, the light source is coming from this direction, and it's probably coming in like, you know, something like that, right? If we want to think about it like, you know, in its truest sense. So the idea is that I basically want, generally speaking, right, there's a lot of generalities here, but you want to have your, what will be your core shadow, which is the darkest part of the form, or the darkest part of the shadow. And then you have here what we call reflected light, right, which is, or you could call this the shadow side of the form, right? Now the reason that this is the darkest part of the shadow, and I know we've talked about this, I'm going to get through this part quickly, there's something else I want to talk about which is almost more important. Then from here we'll have like cast shadow, could be like doing something like this, although it wouldn't be if the light source was coming from there, excuse me, probably be something like that, which would be very, very hard shadow close to the form. The further it goes from the form, the softer this gets, right? Okay. We've talked about this idea many times. You may have half tones in the lit side of the form. You know, it might be a half tone as the form is turning in this direction. We might have a band of highlight in this region. I'm not going to draw it on there, but you know, from about here to here. This might be the most lit side of the form because it's directly in front of the light. And then as we turn away from it, we're going to have half tone here and here kind of coming towards this most lit side of the form, right? Ignore this. Okay, so we've talked about that many times. You've seen me do it many times. This is the important part. If you look at this, from here to here, this core shadow is approximately you could say that's thirds, right? It's about 2/3 of the way along. Or you could say it's about 60-40, right? 60 here, 40 here. What you want to avoid doing at all costs is a cylinder. And I'm using a cylinder, you know, most people use spheres. I use cylinders because they're frankly faster to draw. So we got a 60-40 rule, or at 30, they could also be 70-30, right? Within the boundaries of those ideas, right? What you don't want to do is do 50-50, right? This starts to look really static and it starts to just look forced and weird. Now, you might very well have cases where you have 90-10, right? Rim light, that kind of concept, right? Or you might have cases of 10-90, but I would avoid this one sooner than I would avoid this one. This one can be very effective. This can be very dramatic and very meaningful. This tends to just look weak and wrong, which is kind of interesting, right? So 90-10 can work in tone. This 90-10 doesn't work so much. 70-30, 60-40. So you could basically do with this concept is, if you've got your figure, right, something like this, let's say this is our stick person, you could pretty much, especially if like this is a 3/4 view, right, you can pretty much go in and you can be thinking in terms of, there's our 30, there's our 30, coming down the leg, same type of thing, right? Conveniently, or maybe not so conveniently, but practically, this also helps give you a sense of, okay, there's a box here, right? We got the front plane, side plane, right? Front plane, side plane, same thing here, right? And that 70-30, 60-40 ratio thing is kind of helping explain the idea of that as a concept, right? So with cylinders, it can be a little harder to understand maybe. But here you can see very well, okay, this is the front of the chest, this is the side of the body, whatever. So if I'm doing a conceptual light thing, you could, to some degree or another, light every form on the body to that formula. And it's going to be pretty much in the ballpark. Now, there are going to be some small exceptions to that, right? Generally speaking, because I have to throw in caveats all the time, generally speaking. But you can use that conceptually as kind of like your blueprint of how to approach this conceptual light model, right? Rather than just kind of randomly put down shadows. Think about where the form turns away from light. That's essentially what a shadow is, right? It's where we turn from the lit side of the form to the part of the form that is no longer lit, or in direct light, let's say. So thinking about that and thinking 70-30 as a general rule to help guide you when you're unsure, between those two things, you can end up lighting a model in a very decent way, right? And then you're not worried about what's going on the model themselves. So, thank you for bearing with me there. Oh, well, let's show and tell again quickly, because I think this explains it quite nicely, because it's impractical, right? 70. Core shadow, 30, right? 70, tone of the form. Not so much core shadow, it's a softer turn, right? You're going to get core shadow when you're getting a more aggressive turn. 70, 30. 70, 30. 70, 30. 70, 30. 70, 30. You're getting the point, right? That is how I lit this. That's the way I'm thinking. I just messed up the last drawing using it. Well, I didn't say it was either easy or something that you would get first time, did I? It does require practice, but it's a way to think, which is important. It's better than having no way to think, right? You know I'm right. Okay. Where are we at? All right. We've done 4 poses. We've still got quite a few to get through. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. We've still got half an hour's worth of poses, and that's if we do 5s. So I guess we're doing... Let's do 3 5s and 3 3s. Let's do it. Who knew this would turn into a gesture session? Okay. 5 minutes. Let's go. Okay. Rib cage, oblique. Okay, shoulder. Actually, I've messed up. This arm is not that close to her body, but it kind of works, so I'm going to leave it. It works enough. Okay, I think I'm pretty much done for a 5. Yeah, it's fine. The spinal curve is everything I wanted to be. Yeah, it's nice, right? Great rhythm. Next pose. Oof, this is going to be a tricky one. Five minutes. Let's do it. All right. God, how do they get away with these songs? Okay. Great stretch on this pose too. It's interesting because we're almost at 3/4 front here, and then we're at 3/4 back here. You get this nice kind of transition where the spine, or where the rib cage and the pelvis meet, where you go from, you know, profile, let's say, or that 3/4 front and 3/4 back. Anyway, it's kind of cool. It's really going away from us. You can really kind of see very lightly, you can see the sacrum sitting there, which is useful because it gives us a sense of, okay, iliac crest, oblique, and then coming up to the back there. So it helps us, as we were talking about earlier, helps us with our understanding where to bring shape, hopefully. Deltoid coming up this way. Wow, time is always a bit of a struggle. It's only 5 minutes, it's not long, is it? All right, here's our 5. Well, thank you, Faye. Appreciate it. Everything that can be rotated and counter-rotated is, yeah, that was... This is ultra nightmare difficulty for 5 minutes. So that was a tricky one, for sure. Yeah. Let's see what we have next. Could it be any easier? Lulu? Come on. We do these poses in our sleep, right? Famous last words. All right, let's do it. 5 minutos. I can't even see this other arm. It's going off this way and behind her head, and then this hand is coming across, and then we can just see those fingers kind of sitting there, something like that, right? It's nice. Yeah, really long pelvis, or long torso. She has the ability to make it feel very long. Iliac crest coming down, asis. Iliac crest, okay. Then we've got, it's kind of weird because she's, almost feels that like the center of gravity is off, right? And this leg coming forward and then kind of towards us. Something like that. Pectoral. Doesn't help, you know, obviously we've been talking all evening about how long her torso is. It doesn't help that she then has her hands above her head to exasperate that situation. Yeah, crazy. So rib cage coming up, we get a peak of the scapula coming up this way. Something like this. Yeah, kind of haven't done the most elegant job here, but it is what it is. And there's our 5. Okay. The area above the breast looks very long to me. Yeah, yeah. Well, between the angle and the fact that she's got her arms so high up, it's obviously it's extending everything. Bit of fun. All right, next pose. Now, Faye says, if I wanted to share something, where would I send it to you? You can email me. If you go to my website and use the form on there, it's probably the best way. Okay, next pose. Now, I did say 3s for the next ones, but I think we're going to need at least a 5 for this one. This is a really complex pose. Let's do 5. It may be a generous 5, let's see. Let's do it. Lovely arch to her rib cage there. Look, just this extension is just so cool. And then she's got, yeah, what a great pose. This one really is worthy of a nice long exploration. Feels almost wrong to rush this one as a 5, but it's good practice. Obviously this is going away from us. So her rib cage is sitting in here. Now her humerus, the head of the humerus seems to be pretty much in line with this, so it's sitting around here. And then this arm coming down this way. Elbow's about here. So deltoid sitting there. Something like that. Latissimus scapula sitting in there. Okay. And then her hand coming straight out like this. It's such a great pose. Something like that. Something like that. This leg going away from us here. We can't really see so much. And the knees about here. Calf. Her other arm is kind of coming back this way. about here, right? Okay. I think I'm going to go a few minutes more with this gut one, guys. It's got my attention. So let's just see how we do here. Because sometimes you just gotta do it. What can I say? Okay, hamstring. Something like that. And this calf is actually connected back here. And going down to the ankle down there. Heel is here. Unfortunately, we can't really see a whole lot there. Let's just go a few more minutes, huh? Hand is its own drawing. It's your stream. No, I'm going to stop you if you want to spend 30 minutes. No, that's very. You make a good point. I guess I try at least to be conscious that you know there's other people drawing along, and you know people have expectations on how much they're going to get done in a certain amount of time, and if I'm suddenly changing the length of the pose. Like, let's put it this way. If I was on the other side of this and I was following along with someone streaming like this and they kept changing the length of the pose, it would bother me. So I'm just being honest about that. But at the same time, you are correct. At the end of the day, if something interests us, we have to kind of go for it, right? Alright, this music has really fallen on its ass. I'm going to go back to the old faithful You know the one. The old faithful playlist, which we've all heard 1,000 times. Now, with this hand, what are we going to do? I think it's going to be could be kind of tricky to capture exactly what's going on here, especially without spending an excessive amount of time with it. I think it'll get the point across. Taking some serious liberties here with the hair and the face and all that stuff, but hopefully it will work. Okay, I think I got it out of my system. It's a nerd out, exactly. Good, I'm glad to hear it. Cool. Yeah, that was a fun pose. Could probably just keep going, but you know, at some point, it's enough already. Okay. That was fun. Yeah, I agree. Good stuff. All right, what do we got left? We got 2 poses. 2 threes. That's what we're going to do. 2 threes. Now, which pencil will I use? That's the question. Let's give this a go. This will probably break, but we'll try it. Okay, and this really will be a 3. Let's not kid ourselves. It has to end sooner or later. She's kind of throwing her shoulder forward, which is really lovely. So I'm doing this type of thing. And then this arm And then from there, yeah, good stuff. Broke. There you go. Told you it would. Put it up there. All right, 30 more seconds. All right, there's our 3. All right, guys, we're nearly there. One last pose. Oof. All right, not the easiest one to finish on. All right. It is what it is. Come on, we can do this. Try this spot here. Okay. All right, we're getting there. 45 seconds. Loads of time. Okay, and there's our 3. All right, you know what? I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Guys, we made it. We made it. That was a good session. A lot going on. I hope you enjoyed it too. Obviously, at the beginning of a new week, regular scheduled programming we'll be back on Thursday. Thursday same time. There will most likely be a daily before Thursday, which will be shorter. I'll have the reference on the screen. You know the drill. I was meant to do one last Friday and I couldn't, and apologies for anyone that was keeping an eye out for that. But they are somewhat dependent on what's going on the day. So yeah, I will plan on definitely seeing you Thursday, but most likely before. Maybe not tomorrow, but there's a very good chance Wednesday. We'll see. Anyway, keep an eye out for notifications. For you though, for those of you following on Twitch, if you happen to have YouTube, I would suggest subscribing on there because they tend to be better with notifying, if that makes sense. The schedule thing on Twitch bumps me a little bit because you have to do repeated things on Twitch. You can't just like book one-offs or schedule one-offs. It seems, unless I'm missing something. Twitch aficionados, let me know if I'm wrong on that or if there's a way. Anyway, I am rambling, so I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys are all well, stay well, and I'll see you all really, really soon. Oh yeah, hit the like button on your way out. Cheers.